Hello and welcome. This video is brought to you by the streamingadvisor.com, and what we're going to show you in this video is things to do with your Roku that you might not realize are built in. Whether you're new to Roku because you just got it as a present, or you've had one for a while and just never got into it. First thing we're going to show you is zones. This is really cool because you might be looking for something like, let's say, sci-fi movies. So we're going to start typing in science fiction, right? SCI. And Roku automatically thinks, oh, you must be looking for science fiction movies. You see at the top, it provided us with a science fiction movie zone. But it sort of intuitively creates a list of different zones of these different franchises. You can think of zones kind of like when you used to go to the video stores and there would be a science fiction section or a comedies or whatever. In that section you might have found a group of Star Trek movies or Star Wars or something like that. That's what this is. Except that what it does is it shows you where it is that you can find the things that you're looking for within the various services that are partnered with Roku. So you can go into this and find pretty much anything that's out there, almost everything that's been made about a various thing. Whatever movies you're enjoying, whatever TV shows you enjoy, you can often find them in a zone. Not guaranteed, but you can look and you'll see that it's pretty vast. Here you'll see that it breaks down the Planet of the Apes by original series. It shows you where it is. It also has a section for the rebooted movies right below it, you see. When we jump into the actual science fiction movies section, the sci-fi movies and TV zone, you see that there's all sorts of categories. You see free things, the newest things, things you have to rent, like you see the Venom movies. Everybody likes free, and we're going to be talking about that a little later. But you see that there are lots of things, including 4K releases, all within the sci-fi movie zone. And that it works like that across the board. Now, you don't necessarily have to find zones by looking for a specific genre and hoping it has a zone. You can just ask for zones. So when you just type in zones on the Roku, you'll see once you get past the first couple of selections, you see zones. Oddly enough, when you ask for zones as an audio command, it doesn't pull it right up. It pulls up some information, some videos about them. But to further explore zones, we can just jump over here. And as we go down, you'll see there are numerous zones. You see so many familiar things. James Bond, The Fast and the Furious, and so on. And if you want to see the rest, you just ask it to show you more. So zones are a great starting point. They're good for when you want to check something out, but you don't know where to start. And so maybe instead of jumping into every app and seeing what's on Netflix and what's in Hulu and what's in Prime Video, you can just do that. Now, my feed is something else very different. This is pretty much as close as you can get to a universal watch list in Roku. You can go in, it has selections of movies that you can add, just sort of put there together for you. And when you follow the movie, what it does is it keeps up with it, and it will tell you where it is that it's available at any given time. Like if you follow Ghostbusters Afterlife, all you're going to see is ordering it on demand. But as you go through, you follow the movies, and then check back with my feed, it will show you, hey, this is available for free on this place, or this is available for rent on that place. So you see, for instance, we added this movie Vampire a long time ago. I don't remember what was going through my head at the time. But you see Vampire is available with Plex and Vudu, while Coraline is available for free already through the Roku channel. And there you have it. This is a great way to keep up with things. You might be able to search for anything you want, and you can add it to Follow Me, even if it isn't available on Roku yet. So that's a really cool thing. And we were talking about free streaming. There is actually a free movies and TV zone within that Roku zone. This isn't the only place to find free content on Roku, but it's, again, a good starting point. We're going to show you some other things. Within this, it's going to introduce you to stuff from the Roku channel, as well as numerous apps that have free trials, and then just other content from different Roku apps. Featured Free is another free section for Roku. The big deal with Featured Free is it kind of pulls in a lot more stuff from network TV apps that you might not have explored otherwise, like ABC, NBC, and things like that. That's where something like This Is Us is going to come from. But what you do is you can go in, check things out, but you might have to authenticate your subscription. The Roku channel is another really great resource for free content. The Roku channel acts as both a free content store and maybe a marketplace for other apps you can sign up for. But there are rows and rows of content that you can watch for free and even jump in live and stream things. You might even notice, almost forgot to mention, the Roku channel itself has zones. These aren't the same zones that you find in the Roku search that I showed you earlier, but they do show you content within the Roku channel that falls into a certain genre. Now, if you got a Roku because you're trying to cancel cable, Roku tries to make that easy for you. So we're going to show you something in the streaming channels that you just shouldn't miss. The category is cable alternatives. And what that is exactly what it sounds like. These are all services that you can use to replace cable. You can check out videos on a lot of those services through our channel, but that is something you definitely want to know is out there, because people say all the time, oh, my cable's gotten so expensive. So you want to change things up? That's a way to do it. Now, if you need to change things up with your Roku itself, take a look at themes. Themes are under settings, and they're really cool because they will change not only the background of your Roku, they'll change the screensaver, and even the sounds that your Roku makes as you click through the menus and things like that. If you don't want to go all out, you can just change the background with a wallpaper. This is going to do the same thing that your computer does when you change the wallpaper. And there are tons and tons of different options. You see 81 wallpapers available at the moment. They have themes, they have just, cats. Screensavers are another thing you can change up. Look at that, there are 949 screensavers. It doesn't matter what background you've got. You can have everything from great quotes, things from the Bible, women in bikinis. They're all available as screensavers. But that's a cool way to just change things up. And you can make your TV into anything you want. Now, if on the other hand, you need to do something to change up how you interact with your TV, the accessibility options are numerous. And one of the most important ones is the screen reader. This is a sort of a narrating robot voice that will come on if you tap the star button 4 times. You might want to disable that by going into shortcuts and making sure that does. Now, if videos like mine aren't enough to help you figure out your Roku issues, you can always ask Roku tips and tricks. Roku Tips and Tricks is actually its own Roku channel. You can ask for it by searching like we did with the audio, but you can add it as its own channel and go here to check out some basic tutorials about Roku. This has everything from adding and deleting channels to interesting information about its new features. And that is a good thing to know, especially if you're new or setting things up for a new user. Roku can also act as a TV box for certain systems like Spectrum. Spectrum has its own app that you can add to your Roku, and with that you can access Spectrum's like video service apps as well as its own service that essentially replaces the extra cable box. So if you still have cable and you want to save some money that you would otherwise spend renting a cable box, you can do that. There's also an Xfinity app and many others that are a little harder to find, but you can ask your own cable carriers whether they have apps for Roku, because boy can you save a lot of money doing that. Now, the little start button on your Roku remote is one of the most important things you can get, because it pulls up these menus when you select a channel. You can use it to remove a channel, and you can use it to move a channel to a different section. That's really helpful, like as you know, if your Roku gets piled up with lots of different channels and options, you can move things closer to the top or closer to the bottom or in whatever arrangement that you're looking for so that you can get to your content quicker. And that is just a little bit about your Roku that you might not have known already. There's a whole lot of other things that you can do. You can keep on reading us at the Streaming Advisor. Jump in and use that Roku Tips and Tricks channel and just enjoy yourself. There's a lot out there on streaming. I hope you found that helpful, and if you did, please subscribe. As always, I am Ryan Downey, the Streaming Advisor. Stream on, my friends.